What's a modern trend you think people will regret in 10 years? Buccal fat removal. First thing that came to my mind too, mostly because it is irreversible. Once those fat pads are gone, they are gone forever. We're already seeing the effects of out-of-control Botox and filler use, but both of those are generally considered reversible. Perhaps not 100%, but significant improvements can be made if something has gone wrong. Buccal fat removal ages people so significantly, at least to me, and it's all people in their 20s and 30s getting it done. As they age, they will kick themselves for removing fat, as without that fat they are going to see deep lines and wrinkles much sooner and much more pronounced. No amount of filler or other surgical procedures will be able to replace the fat they had removed, and I worry they'll all end up looking sick from their face being artificially gone, or freakish from whatever attempts may be made to try to restore the appearance of buccal fat. Edit to add, I'm not here to argue with people about how reversible buccal fat removal is or isn't. As a physician and a human with functioning eyes, I am of the opinion that even if there are options to reverse it in the future, it's never going to look as natural or attractive as if someone didn't get all of that work done. Surgeries involve scars and faces show imperfections very plainly. If you're convinced otherwise, good for you. Maybe go discuss that elsewhere. It's already happening in the sense that some celebrities or media figures do buccal fat removal, and then regret it in a few years as they age and end up getting fillers. And get so much filler then they look like the 50-year-old burger-cheeked cat-faced lady who did too much plastic surgery look. Except in the past, that lady looks like that from 30 years of plastic surgery gradually building up. Now some 28-year-old gets buccal fat removed, looks 40 years old a few years later, and starts pumping in the burger cheeks. It's literally a speedrun. People won't look like those burger-cheeked old ladies anymore because plastic surgery got better over the past 20 years. Isn't true if you make rash decisions about plastic surgery, I'm guessing. Burger-cheeked old cat-faced ladies catching strays over here, filming their kids' worst moments for internet clout. They'll resurface and the kids will be bullied relentlessly. I recently went down a rabbit hole of this influencer mom Ruby Frank, who is currently in jail on child abuse charges. Her eldest daughter recently gave testimony on how growing up in an influencer family contributed to the abuse of her and her siblings, and how there should be laws and such in place so that kids couldn't be pawns on their parents' YouTube accounts. I've never followed any parental influencers in depth, but based on what I've read about the case, I don't get how there aren't already laws in place, letting go of their privacy. We're not letting go, it's being torn from us. I did quite a bit of research on this a few years back. I was looking into starting a business focused on online privacy protection. Ultimately, I concluded that it is already 10 to 15 years too late. Unless you go full Kaczynski and disconnect completely, it's absolutely impossible to live, work, and participate in the modern world while protecting your privacy in any meaningful way. Relying on AI to get through school, they will end up spending hundreds of thousands of dollars for a diploma, but in the end they will realize that they don't really know much. As a college instructor, I really fear for the future. Everyone's using AI and they aren't learning a damn thing. At least back in the day you had to work hard to cheat, but now it's a CTRL plus C, CTRLV job for everything. Bullying teachers out of the profession. There's already a shortage of qualified teachers, and it seems there are a lot less young people going into teaching, staying in teaching. My sister's been teaching for over 20 years, and I can't believe she hasn't quit. She's one of the good ones. She invests so much time and effort and love, keeps up with continuing education, etc. And the crap she has to deal with is unbelievable. Sending your DNA into a random company. If you think tech companies are bad with your data privacy, imagine what can happen when misuse of your human building blocks becomes lucrative. I was always afraid they could sell my DNA profile to health insurance companies, which could then deny my claim since my DNA shows a predisposition to certain cancers. There's currently a law against this in the US, but I've avoided DNA tests for the same reason. I have very little faith that law will actually protect against that kind of stuff. Starting and of the second you turn 18, not a super common one. But the amount of 17 why? Oh, many influencers who have grown men waiting for them to turn 18 BC, they've already said they'll make one, is sad. Posting your nudes anywhere online, like I'm all for body positivity and if you're fine with it, sure. But no, once it's out there, it's out there. I think it's already decreasing, but really terrible names for kids. If you name your kid something you made up, or two names smashed together, or just copy the name of a character that you like. Try to remember that the person with that name will be a person, not a cute little art project that everyone will congratulate you for. If you name your son Merlin or Giorno or Hal, etc., they will resent you for it. Yup, I wouldn't wish this on anyone. I'm someone with a made-up name. Literally, it's not even a name or word. It's completely made up, no Google results for it. It was pretty much the cause of my bullying as a child and still as an adult, and the most annoying thing is having to repeat my name a dozen times when I meet someone, and it's probably why I find it so hard to get a job. Not building any tolerance for being offended, uncomfortable, distressed, conflict, etc. I get that for a long time, the opposite was true, and that wasn't good either. But it baffles me how people act like if their worldview is not immediately and vehemently agreed with and upheld by every single other person, they will melt into a puddle and the world will be worse for it. I can't tell you how many times a week I just want to say grow the fuck up. But, to be clear, it's a multi-generational and multicultural problem, I know. I don't think one group is guilty, but I do think it has gotten worse in the last decade. Edit. This blew up. Just so you know, if you read this and think you're not part of the problem, you probably are. It's not one group of people, it's a collective culture of low tolerance. Some of the comments just prove that point. Coming from a tattooed person. I feel like many will regret those sticker book tattoo sleeves. Edit. I don't have sticker book tattoos and I don't regret my tattoos, lol. In the past, I've stated that I don't like sticker book styled tattoos and people would say, but you have tattoos, so I felt the need to add it. I am prepared for downvotes, but rampant Ozempic use. It's one thing to be monitored by a doctor, but even then, we can see insane side effects, like gastroparesis. I'm really afraid of what we're going to find out and what the consequences will be. Ada. I'm really surprised people are agreeing with me, but I'm also not talking about when it's used to treat diabetes. I think it's great it helps with that, though I'm still concerned for what isn't known yet. I'm specifically talking about non-diabetics using it for cosmetic weight loss. The obsession with hustle culture. In a decade, I think people will look back at how we glorified overworking ourselves and wonder why we didn't prioritize rest and balance. It's basically the equivalent of wearing skinny jeans, something you'll cringe at, but it felt right at the time. I feel like a lot of people are getting sick of it and rebelling against it these days. No one wants to work anymore. I see a lot of people openly saying that they only work because they have to. I love the trend of making fun of the cringe go-getters on LinkedIn. Maybe it's just the people I follow, maybe it's just that I'm at the age where people start to burn out and reassess their priorities, but I like to think that humanity is starting to see hustle culture for the unhealthy state that it is. To add to the AI reliances, using AI to create music. We are raising a generation of musicians who don't know how to write or play music. There's no denying that it is a powerful tool that can accelerate creativity and handle monotonous tasks, but there are also going to be people who use it to circumvent creativity and handle all tasks. I don't care about the perspective of the listener and any debates around so what as long as the music is good. I hurt for the artists who in 10 years still won't be able to write their own music and will still need to use AI. I want AI to do my dishes and laundry so I can do my writing and art, not for AI to do my writing and art so I can do my dishes and laundry. Not my quote, just something I read on Twitter or Reddit that stuck with me and seems more and more relevant. Gender reveals. Imagine how those kids are gonna feel when they see mom or dad crying or throwing a tantrum because they didn't get the gender they wanted. I know a family they didn't do gender reveals thankfully, where the mother wanted a second girl for cute photos mainly I think. So the third child was a boy. She was disappointed and definitely struggling to cope with 3 children. The 4th baby was also a boy and she was very upset. When she found out the 5th child would be a boy, she was devastated and depressed for a long time. Remember, they were already struggling to cope with 3 children, plus the financial burden was high. Thankfully, the 6th child was a girl. Imagine how those 3 boys in between are going to feel when they realize they were unwanted and born into a chaotic home just so mom could take cute girl pictures with cute dresses. Overuse of sanitation everywhere. That bottle of whatever that says kills 99.9% of germs is going to be a huge regret. The 99.9% means that there's one microbe that is immune to the chemical. the microbe will continue to propagate unless knocked back down by another chemical for a while. What happens when it's immune to lots of chemicals? Scary. The typical microbe duplicates roughly every 30 minutes at an optimistic rate. It doesn't take a mathematician to figure out that the immune microbe is going to make a huge civilization in just days. Not many people want to talk about it, but we're running out of chemicals to kill the scary microbes. Sanitation is good, but overuse is leading us down a very dark path towards Black Plague-like outcomes. Please use hand sanitizer and antibiotics sparingly. When you do use antibiotics, do the entire prescription as ordered. We're headed for a bad time if we don't get more careful with our antiseptics.